Hello and welcome to the Quebec channel. I'm Jason, your host, and we're going to talk about diabetes type 2. Now, my diabetes type 2 came about due to a medication I was on. I was on this medication for almost 2 years and it didn't give me any side effects. And then all of a sudden, one of the prime side effects came in and started to damage my body. It caused diabetes type 2 and it also started to damage my potassium absorption again. That was a bad thing because my potassium absorption was already low. And if your potassium goes below like 2.5 or something like that, or 2.6, you are very much in the situation where you will die. Potassium is something that, like electrolytes type thing, it keeps your muscles going, and without it you are in a bad position. Your diaphragm can stop working, which means you stop breathing. So this was a massive change for me, not so much because of the sweet stuff. I do not have a sweet tooth. Cake and sweets and gummy bears and chocolate and all that kind of thing is not my normal thing. I do like ice cream, but also not a big thing. I don't have alcohol, so I don't have that limitation. But it's the savoury stuff that you don't think about. You see, stuff with massive amounts of sugar in. At the moment, you probably see me moving from side to side, and that's because I'm pedalling under the desk. I use pedalling in that because it uses the main muscles in your legs. It's very good for lowering your blood sugar. If I'm going to eat something that's going to take my blood sugar up a little bit, get it down quickly, because everybody's blood sugar when they eat goes up. But to help mine go down quicker, I pedal. I do a lot of pedaling under my desk. It's good for my body health, and it's a good type of exercise. You don't want to do rapid exertion exercise to counter blood sugar, because when you do rapid exertion, your body tries to release more energy into your blood. So you want to do something that's just mellow, not mellow, just more a go for a long walk type of exercise. Maybe even very light jogging, but you do not want to do things that are going to exert your body to the point where it says, ooh, we'd better release some more blood sugar, because that defeats the goal. So, when this happened because of medication, there's not really much I could do about it. I had to change everything. But what I missed out on was the carbs. I missed out. You realise very quickly that anything that's got carbs in it of a certain type and a certain amount is going to convert into blood sugar. And you have to balance it out. Like if I add a couple of potatoes to a stew that I'm doing, I've got to make sure there's enough other things in there to mean that will slow down the digestion and slow down the conversion. Because potatoes on their own will spike your blood sugar. I can't have Chinese. I can make my own Chinese, but I can't order takeout because there's a lot of sugar-based stuff. There's a lot of carbs in them. Ugh. It's scary how high your blood sugar goes up when you eat that kind of thing. I can't have pizzas. The only ones I can have are cauliflower-based or special keto pizzas, which are very expensive, so I don't have them. There's other things. Bread. Most bread is bad. But if you make your own bread and you don't put sugar in it, you can have some bread. Cakes, no. Pastries, depends. If the pastry's got meat in it as well, then it can counter it a bit. Like, for example, if I have a sandwich, a meat-based sandwich, it depends how much meat I put in the sandwich, how quickly the carbs in the bread will digest and turn into blood sugar. So, and everybody's unique. Everybody's metabolism in diabetes type 2 or even diabetes type 1 is different. My version is one where, thankfully, my body is still producing enough insulin, and my insulin, even though it's more sensitive, is working to the point that my blood sugar it never goes too low, but it can go too high. So the control isn't there, but I can control it by eating differently. For example, my go-to breakfast is Huel, because Huel Black. Now, don't have the normal white Huel, because the normal white Huel is carb-based. The black one isn't carb-based, and therefore it doesn't spike your sugar. So I can have that as my breakfast, vanilla milkshake for breakfast. Lunch is usually a stew, which is lots of green vegetables, which give me potassium, which I need because of my low potassium. And add something like a single sausage, a single beef burger, and a single piece of bacon into a stew, and they will just basically dissolve into it while it's cooking in the pressure cooker. I might add, it'll have carrots, it'll have one small sliced up potato. I can't have mashed potato anymore. I can't have potato as a main part of a meal. Potato really do spike my blood sugar. No. About once a month, I do a test. I'll try a new type of food, and if I can find a new type of food, I will test it out, and I'll be ready to do lots of. If it spikes my blood sugar, how can I put this? Think of your normal rate. My normal blood sugar is about 6.9 to 7. That's my before food, before eating, before in the morning. That's my stable thing. If I eat something normal, doesn't spike. If I eat something that's sort of medium glycemic, then it will go up to like between 8 and 9. That's normal. Between 8 and 9 is fine. But 2 hours after a meal goes up, comes back down. But if, for example, I had Chinese, it would go up to 14. That's bad. Because when your blood sugar goes up that high, it starts damaging your organs, it starts damaging your body, starts damaging your veins and arteries and your nerves. This is why you get peripheral neuropathy. Basically, one of the first things they had to do when I became diabetic was check to see whether there was any damage to my eye, check my feet to see whether there was any damage to my toes or my fingertips and that, because that's where it affects you first. Thankfully not. But I've always got to be very careful. Let's do my blood sugar right now, because I'm doing a bit of exercise, because I've had something to eat, and it was these noodles that are protein based, not carb based noodles. Oh, one other thing I will mention: diabetic food or stuff that's good for diabetes is bloody expensive. So I have lots of pinholes in my fingers and that, because let's have a see. Let's little bit of blood. Okay, it takes 5 seconds. This is a pretty good one. This one is 8.1 at the moment, and that's okay because I ate about an hour ago. And so the funny thing is, I'm losing a lot of weight. Actually, I've lost about 8 kilograms in weight in about 2 months now, and it's still going down. And that's because I'm doing the exercise after I eat. So I'm burning through a lot of the energy that the food is giving me. But each month or so, I'll test out a new food because it's boring otherwise. How much more can I tell you about this? I hope you don't get diabetes. It sucks. It really sucks. I mean, when you go to eat or you go to have something or anything like that, and you find out that you can't eat anything that they sell, or you can't have stuff with your friends, or you can't have a piece of cake, or any of these things. But I've seen what happens to people when they have diabetes, and I'm not putting myself through that. I've seen someone, when Paola was in the hospital, there was a woman there who basically refused to give up the stuff that she loved. And one arm was amputated, both legs were amputated. Um, she was blind in one eye, and they couldn't find any veins to give her insulin. She was basically dying because they couldn't give her any. Lovely person, though. She was still happy in that. And just talking to her and telling us about it. And it's like, I've seen how bad things can get with diabetes. It can damage your heart. It can damage lots of things, because when your blood sugar goes above a certain level, it becomes actually damaging to your body. So I've taken the point where I always make sure I'm keep an eye on it, make sure my blood sugar stays within the nice, healthy. I get my blood tested by the doctors and so on. And things are okay for me when it comes to it. But it does suck, because being ADHD, bipolar and all that, sometimes my brain will say to me, I want to eat that. 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 It just doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. It becomes one of those focuses for your brain. And so I have to find a version that isn't too bad for me. There's one place I can order from in Stoke-on-Trent, and the food that they do is doesn't hit my blood sugar bad. But that's probably good anyway, because I don't really have the money for takeouts anyway. So this is just the way I deal with it. Any kind of basic exercise will help. I'm very lucky, though. I'm lucky that I can moderate my diabetes without having to be on insulin, without having to have medical intervention. That is a good thing. It's just not very easy to keep it all going when you miss out on things. But yeah, Christmas bothered me, and Halloween bothered me, and Easter bothered me, because you see all these, even though I don't have a sweet tooth, we all have memories of having eggs and cake and stuff. This last year was the first year where usually my next door neighbour makes amazing Christmas cake. She really does. And I had to say no this year. It's like, okay. So, compared to some of the other stuff I deal with, it's not a major thing. I'm going to put it down on the list anyway. Everybody who has diabetes is different, though. Remember that. So this is Jason for the Quiver channel. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, I usually pedal for about an hour. The good thing about pedaling under my desk is I don't notice I'm doing it. I really don't notice I'm doing it. And that's the thing for people with ADHD in it. You don't want to do exercise that you notice, because then it becomes boring. You need to do some kind of exercise that your brain doesn't see as exercise, like Beat Saber. Beat Saber in VR never feels like exercise, but it is. It's cardio. So, bye-bye for now. This is Jason for the Quiver channel.